What's up, dorks? She-Hulk Attorney at Law has finally dropped on Disney Plus, telling the story of Jennifer Walters and how she becomes a new addition to the Hulk family. I thought this episode started off really well, actually. I was kind of nervous going into it with a lot of the negative buzz coming around Disney Plus shows these days. I really liked how they handled the quick origin story of She-Hulk and how you got to see a lot of that Bruce Banner action that I thought maybe Endgame kind of didn't handle very well. Like, I actually saw more of Bruce Banner Hulk doing cool things in this episode that I wasn't expecting. And then just watching that like back and forth of She-Hulk and the Hulk and their differences and kind of their relationship, that family dynamic that they have with each other, where they can talk shit to each other and kind of be mean to each other and beat the fuck out of each other, but also they're Hulk, so it doesn't matter.
Having not known a lot about She-Hulk going into this, my expectations were, well, I really didn't have any expectations. I'm glad I didn't, because I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really funny. I actually found myself laughing throughout, which I think is all. I've always enjoyed how Marvel has made an effort to like make the Hulk as funny as possible. I personally enjoy that. I like how it doesn't take itself too seriously. I even enjoy her breaking the fourth wall early on in the show, which I thought was pretty cool. But I'd say more so than anything, I'm excited about like what the show is gonna be. So I thought they did a really good job at establishing the origin and everything, which is cool because like honestly, when it comes to like Hulk origin stories, I can't really say I care all that much. I just want to, as long as we get to that place where they're Hulk, I don't really find myself caring too much. But with this one, I enjoyed it. I like that they allowed Bruce to really take the back seat on this one and allow She-Hulk to shine. I think with the remnants of former phases in Marvel, sometimes we find ourselves just wanting to see more of the characters that we've spent so much time with as opposed to the new ones. But with this one, I think they did a really good job of making her shine, even with Bruce Banner on screen. I'm really excited for like the crime and lawyer aspects of the show, the court aspects of the show. I really want to see her in the courtroom.
They do have her shine a little bit, in my opinion, more than Hulk. To me, I feel like they still be doing Hulk a little dirty. He hasn't gotten his shine yet. Even with her showing up and being Hulk for less than 24 hours, I feel like she still holds her own against him. I feel like they still haven't had him have his moment. But the scene where he throws the rock or the boulder, he throws a boulder into space. That shows how powerful he can really be. But they still do a really good job of having him take a back seat with her, just still establishing that it is her show.
You think they'd be hoeing him?
I think they'd be hoeing the Hulk. I feel like we hadn't seen the Hulk catch a dub yet. Like, I understand what he could do could be crazy and like it could be disastrous. But they had him on the ground, literally, like they had him throwing a tantrum. He was on the ground throwing a tantrum for a second. When they break the bar, he just lays on the ground like he's defeated. They look at it from a woman's standpoint or from women's standpoint and showing that, Hulk's like, oh, you can't be angry, you can't be emotional. She's like, dog, I do this shit every day. Like, this is my life 24/7 at work.
Yeah.
When I'm out having fun with the friends, when I'm at the house, it's like it's continuous. I like how they had that spin on it that she's more controlled because women do go through tougher situations, I would say, than men do on a day-to-day basis.
I do like that they also do a few callbacks. The Hulk, everybody was talking after Endgame, the Hulk's arm's going to be fucked up forever like Thanos. And he's like, nah, my arm's healed now. So I'm back to Primo Hulk.
Yeah.
References with the Ultron helmet, and he's got his Ragnarok helmet from Sakaar in the back. Actually, a lot of world building with a more isolated episode, I would say, because I didn't realize we would be spending pretty much the whole episode on the island after we establish the blood transfusion, the ship from Sakaar, which who knows what that means. Maybe Hulk's son, maybe in the 2 years that Hulk was on Sakaar, he was getting it down with freaking somebody. And so now he's got a son coming. We got a whole Gamma monster family coming up soon. Got the cousin, the son. Who knows what's going to have? Abomination's going to end up being his homie or some shit.
I do like how this was another Marvel production that wasn't overly funny. I feel like we've been getting like over like killed with jokes and killed with comedy. I genuinely thought that this show was I thought it was comical. I enjoyed it. I didn't feel like there was any dry jokes.
I agree about the comedy point though, because the last few Marvel things, which we've discussed about on the channel, it's been the first time that I've actually felt like I've aged out. But with this, it felt like all the humor was organic and true to character. And it just felt natural. It felt natural in the flow of the conversation between characters and stuff. Nothing felt forced. It didn't seem like they were like, let's make a funny show today.
With Thor, Love and Thunder as an example, it seemed like they actually dumbed down characters and were just making jokes for the sake of jokes. Whereas it does fit in the natural flow of the show that since they are cousins and they have that natural kind of family dynamic, that the humor flows pretty well between Hulk and She-Hulk. But also when you do see the brief glimpses of her as Jennifer Walters, like taking the shoes off in the courtroom before she hulks out, and even talking to the other lawyer at the front of the show, I think they know what they're making with this show.
I think
Like,
you can definitely tell that the show was written by women in the best way possible, to where there's like an
yeah,
authenticity and all the sensibilities of female characters in it that feels honest.
I also like that she kind of had that alter ego moment, almost similar to Iron Man in a way, where she was like, I don't want anyone to know that I'm Hulk. And then she has that moment in the courtroom where it's like, God damn it, I guess I have to do this now. And so she hulks out real quick, says who she is, so everyone's gonna know, okay, she's famous. And going off the trailers and stuff, we know that's gonna kind of blow up, where she's going to red carpet premieres, going on Tinder dates as She-Hulk and shit. So I think this show has a lot of potential moving forward to keep that funny. I don't want to say a rom-com, but it just has a more like feminine aspect to it, which I think the MCU has kind of been lacking, where they tried to force that with Black Widow, but it didn't actually emphasize why Black Widow was cool. It just kind of felt forced, whereas She-Hulk is actually making her a different character than the Hulk and giving her own personality, but with the powers of a Hulk. Like if an everyday person got the powers of the Hulk and then was able to control it.
She-Hulk, it definitely seems like Seinfeld meets the MCU based on what I've seen so far, where it's just everyday life, which to me, like, I find funny. Obviously, there's going to be these big conflicts involved, but I like the idea of seeing MCU characters go on dates and do regular stuff. I think there's a lot of humor to be found in that.
The running theme of the intro to this show, they're talking about Captain America and if he ever got down in the 40s, but then paying that off with the after credit scene where it's like, yes, it's like more mature themes. I feel like this is
Yeah.
like kind of like you said earlier about Thor, how it kind of you felt like you outgrew the humor and the concepts,
Mhm.
whereas this feels like an adult superhero show. I like that Jennifer is just like, I got it. I'm going back. Don't even give a fuck about being a Hulk at the end of the day. I want to be a lawyer. Like, I don't want to be a superhero. I'm stuck being a She-Hulk, and that is what it is. I'm just going to go back and be a lawyer. And I do think, throughout the show, we are going to see some courtroom stuff. We got Daredevil coming in soon. And, who knows what the hell is going to happen with these things. But I do think there'll be something bigger that happens at the end of this show that we aren't expecting. I think they've hidden more of this show than we realize, because really, if you go look at the trailers, a lot of that's in the first episode. There's other things that are going to be coming that I'm sure is also going to, because I don't think Abomination is the real villain. I think there's like a little cat and mouse with this, where there's going to be something a lot bigger that shows up, where we could even touch down on the Thunderbolts a little bit here. I want Madam Hydra to set up these Thunderbolts, and I actually want that to be some kind of weird courtroom drama where, like, at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, we have her trying to get the off-brand Captain America to join Thunderbolts. We have Black Widow's sister joining. Like, you could have Abomination joining now soon. So if it somehow twists that She-Hulk is actually like the driving force to go against the Thunderbolts, and how that could potentially change things around, which I also don't know how they're going to incorporate maybe Bullseye. If Daredevil's being introduced into the show, Bullseye was in season 3 of Daredevil, and in the Thunderbolts, he's like reverse Daredevil, right? And they even already touched on that in season 3 of Daredevil. So there's a lot of overlap that could happen with this that they've kind of been hush hush on. So I'm interested to see where that goes. To get into scoring She-Hulk, I think this was a great pilot for the show. It's got me excited to see more of what's going to come with Jennifer and how she's going to handle her new Hulk abilities. I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10. I really do think this could be one of the shining shows in the MCU that doesn't take itself too serious in the correct way and still has that humor, but also badass action scenes.
I'm going to give it an 8. Again, having gone into it without knowing too much about She-Hulk, I walked away from it wanting to know more about her. I love the tone of the show. I really enjoyed the way it was written. It was very funny, but in a very organic way. More casual day-to-day look at She-Hulk, or maybe the life of a superhero, but it doesn't seem to come at the sacrifice of some of the larger scale stuff that I think we'll likely see at the end. And I think finding like a sweet spot and balancing those things is really impressive. So yeah, I'm stoked on it. I'm excited to see more of it.
8 out of 10. They did a really good job of keeping me engaged in it. There was never a moment where I thought it was doing too much or it wasn't giving enough. It wasn't overly funny like most of the Marvel productions we've been seeing lately. They kept it small, they kept it contained, but you can see where it can be bigger, but they're not forcing it on you throughout the show.
Let us know what you guys thought of She-Hulk Attorney at Law's first episode. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let us know in the comments below and we'll discuss it with you down there. We're going to be covering this show weekly, and make sure you don't miss out on our podcast where we're going to actually have She-Hulk fight up against Tsunade and Wonder Woman. It'll be long form content coming out weekly, and that'll be airing tomorrow, Friday, August 19th. So make sure you check that out tomorrow. And until the next one, guys. Peace.